Advanced Grade Gundam Legilis. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam Reviews.net, and sure, Aznavour had a reputation for changing his mobile suits as much as he changed his clothes, which wasn't really that much. That joke didn't make sense. Nonetheless, how about Zeheart Galette? He's only been around for a couple generations there, and as they all go tumbling over, we get to see him step into perhaps his final Gundam, the Gundam Legilis, handed down from Zeheart. Let's see how it stacks up in advanced grade before the high grades release. This is a 2012 release. The price you can see in the bottom right there is 800 yen. This is from Bandai, a little more than the average advanced grade. There you can see the name and number there. It's looking pretty cool in terms of the box art. I love these numbers that are the letters that they've been using for the vegan suits, especially for Zeheart's customs. And you can see that it's number 23 in the AG series. As mentioned, Zeheart is a man of many masks, especially if he's hiding in a high school, finding out about mobile suits, and also mobile suits here. And the Zetas in advanced grade doesn't really apply to him necessarily as compared to Dezel, I suppose. Nonetheless, we've got the Zedora and the Giraga, so he's only missing one, but overall he's going to have 5 mobile suits so far, and I wonder if we're going to be counting, and I'd love to have them all reproduced in model form. It's sad that they haven't even bothered to do it in advanced grade for his Zagok-like one. Around the box you can see some in-game stats if you want to go give this a shot at places like Yodobashi camera. Painted up like a pro, I will look forward to seeing just how much yellow and red is actually in here, in plastic and unpainted. There you can see the back there, some more Adidas stripes around there. And there's the pilot. They're focusing on Zeheart, not on Zeheart, although it seems as of episode 44 or so that it's already been passed off for good. I'm sure Bandai wants kids everywhere to say, hey, we want to go play this game in supermarkets or Yodobashi camera, and you can check that out. But for the block build system, of more interest for the plastic builders, you can see that there's some yellow in the arms, a fair bit of yellow in the chest and waist section, to go along with some blue and red there. Looks like there are going to be some hollow part issues there for the back thrusters, but nonetheless, lots of parts as we become accustomed to with the higher and ever-improving quality of advanced grade. And inside the box we go, where you can see there's going to be lots of multicolored plates in here, as we've gotten used to with anything bearing the name Gundam, in age, red, blue, yellow, gray, 2 plates of white. And remember that everything you need, from ordering missing parts to the directions and everything else, instructions on the game, is going to be included on the inside. The A1 and A2 plates here were separated at birth, as you can see, and you've got the tail over here, which is a trademark, of course, of all of the UE vegan suits. And you can also see some even better things as the advanced grades get better and better, sort of as expected, you'd think, for 800 yen here. But you can see that there's some clear parts there that are actually, sorry, not clear parts, but parts that are omitted and cut out of these actual plates so they can reveal some of the yellow underneath. The shield is looking pretty impressive there, as is the waist section. You can see some color will fit in there. And you've got 2 fronts for the back of the head there, and you've got this part up there for the front of the head. And again, you can see these omitted parts there in the shoulders. Amazing that it's going to show this many colors through an 800 yen kit. The B plate is going to have the by now familiar advanced grade inner body there, which is going to give you the neck, the shoulders, and it's not going to show off too much hips, it looks like there. And you're also going to have the same color of gray down there for the arms, elbows, and hands. And if you take a look at this, you're going to have the main weapon there and a very small gray part, which is just adding to that level of intricacy, especially that's going into the heads and around the V-fins. Only problem being is that, yes, that weapon, like most other advanced grades, is going to be paper thin. The amount of yellow in this kit is absolutely mind-blowing, as you know that this is the kind of thing that even a few years ago, if it was first grade from 00, that the main body would just be white and you'd have to paint on all the yellow, despite how much the pro painters have painted it all around the box. But in this case, it's all going to be coming true with very little effort on anybody's part needed. You actually get to put together 2 yellow parts there before you insert them inside the legs, which means you're going to be getting unique color. You'll notice that you have a large side and a small side there on either side. The tail section, the chest is going to have yellow parts showing through in all sorts of places. You also have these very cool Adidas stripes that are going to go into the shoulders, and the extra bonus that even the head is going to have these yellow parts here. No complaints whatsoever about this C plate. In fact, I'd say it's its best feature. The D and E plate are just here together just to fill up the frame, but you're actually going to have 5 red parts, which is pretty cool. Somewhat disappointing that you're not going to get on that amazing yellow plate, that you're not going to be getting anything to go in between the shield. So you're only going to have the red on the white. Nonetheless, still not bad that you're getting 2 colors there. You're going to have this part there for the waist, and the all-important goatee is still going to be in its proper red. The feet here, you can see that the attachment point is a little bit off-center. And for the chest, you can see that the yellow parts are going to protrude through here to show off the vent. Probably the only complaint really being is that the laser here is not going to be differentiated unless you wanted to go get a Gundam marker or something to color that up. And when he's all put together, I think he's a very cool mix of villainy and heroism. The RX-78-2 influences definitely there in the color schemes, but you're not going to see it anywhere in terms of the actual mold of this guy. It's vague and UE through and through, starting with the pointy legs, or the pointy toes, the skinny legs, the wing thrusters on the back, which seem to be a trademark of Zeheart's things, not to mention the tail on the gun. The tail that is a gun on the back there. The shield is going to be the unique thing to the Vegans. They've never had one of those before until this guy started having it. The wings up here are not going to be able to move very much, but nonetheless, they certainly do add a whole bunch of build to it. But unfortunately, at the camera angle you're seeing it at right now, you don't see too much of the hollow parts. But when you take a look at it this way, you're going to see both the good and the bad here. In terms of the yellow, you've got it in the chest and the neck to go along with a gray neck piece on the inside. You can see that the red goatee is actually going to stand out, although not as much with all that white around it. But they also gave you that small yellow part there to put around the head, and you are going to have the yellow very nicely etched there as you put the white parts all around it. It's really only on the back here that you're going to have these ugly parts that are going to show through whenever you're looking down at the kit from a 38-degree angle or so. Other pluses include the fact that you do get two colors there for the shield. A yellow would have been nice considering how much else yellow they gave for this kit. Unfortunately, you're going to have a pretty ugly, thin, paper thin pretty much there in terms of the weapons. But the legs, very impressive that they've got a different shape yellow on the outside and the inside, and yet that it was all recreated in advanced grade. Let's go straight to posing. Whether it's Ez or Zeheart threatening somebody with this paper-thin rifle, well, it's going to look alright. He can look down the barrel. It's going to look cheesy and a little alien. I suppose that because it's such a slender mobile suit overall that you could get away with the thinness. Nonetheless, it still does look pretty cheesy, and it would be a lot more productive if you were to actually use the tail, which I was hoping would look a little bit cooler just because it is actually 3D plastic instead of just 2D. But nonetheless, it's not going to be all that exciting, and it does look a little bit awkward there on the inside of the hands. You can swap that off and have it on either side. It would just be sort of upside down over here. And I should point out that it does have this little small attachment point there, so they're getting a lot finer for putting on things like shields, and you can do it on either arm. For comparison time, well, let's start with the age-old story, going back to the days of Shakespeare, where a young Martian infiltrator comes to your mobile suit club and then becomes your great friend and great enemy all in short order. But I digress, and back to the plastic models where you can see all the right Gundam colors in all the right places. I'd say that one of the biggest omissions though just has to be in that chest cannon there. I mean, I love seeing all the yellow Adidas striping everywhere else. It just seems like if it had that one more extra color in the chest, that this thing really would be pure gold, but you can see in terms of height that he's going to have the edge over Assam. And Assam may have some longer hair and perhaps be in need of a lawyer, but nonetheless, the Dark Hound isn't going to add too much bulk. In fact, it's going to be even smaller than the H2, just because the things hanging off on these shoulders are going to be a little bit smaller, except for the fact that he's got the larger rifle. Love that skull motif there on the chest and the head, very crossbone-ish, but the Legilis is going to look more like a lead Gundam, it seems, than this guy actually does, although more along the lines of Turn A, I suppose you'd have to say. Here he is next to his previous mobile suit, the Giraga, which in advanced grade you'll notice is going to have a curly tail as opposed to the straight fry over there that you've got on this guy. Instead, you can see that there's going to be pink here, no pink over there, to go along with the red and the gray. So the Giraga is looking pretty good, but remember the high grade is going to have all those extra colors, seals on the chest and the clear green. But instead of comparing it to it, I thought it's been too long since we've seen this great mobile suit, the Zedora, or the Zedra. It's been passed over, it seems. Of course, just the fact that he's gone through 5 mobile suits in short order means that these kind of things have to happen. Nonetheless, such a great design here in the high grade. The advanced grade really had nothing to do with that, as it just had red with black on it and a little bit of green. So seeing it next to this one just makes me want to have all of the high grade suits, and even if we are dreaming, all the master grades for Zeheart side by side by side, as he looks quizzical. In terms of a final verdict, definitely with the high grade yet to come out and still a few months away, I've got to say that this has got to be a really positive one. It's a huge step up on some of the earlier advanced grades, as you can see with just the fact that you've got yellow details absolutely everywhere. We've seen some monotone, completely one color guys, including the Zetis or the ZSR or the Zetis Magician's 8, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter because it's only got one color in it. And when you see all the right Gundam colors, we've gotten used to getting the green eyes, which are sort of cool for the Gundams. Unfortunate that this one has gray eyes, but then again, they still go to the trouble of putting that little tiny Vegan eye set in, and they're going to set it off with yellow and red all around it, and they go to the trouble of actually doing it, whereas on previous ones, going back almost a year now, I don't think they would have. Playability, you've actually got 2 weapons there that can fit in hand, and the shield which can go on either side. made out of 2 colors, so lots of negatives, I suppose, just in terms of the posability and all that usual stuff that we've seen for the advanced grades. Hollow things sticking forward, which are never a plus. You'd think the Bandai would hide them on the backside. Nonetheless, if you have this guy on your shelf, he's going to be a great climax villain if he's going to be in here. Can't wait to see who he faces off, whether it's going to be with Kyo or with Asum, and if he's going to turn sides in the end. And nonetheless, can't wait to get the high grade and actually have a proper posed recreation. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of this advanced grade kit and the video itself. Always love to hear from you. And stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. Thanks for watching, everybody. And yeah, I wonder if this guy's going to have as many master grades and 2.0s as this guy in the future. See ya. To go back to that last point, kid, I think probably not. Look how many years it's taken for Arthur just to get 2 master grades, and they're not even necessarily his most famous or popular ones. Nonetheless, you should have turned midway through 2 series, yeah, and then you would have had a chance for it.